Hi, George here, and today we're going to be using Photoshop Elements along with the Elements Plus plugin to do an easy removal of this background color, solid background color. Now this isn't just being applied to things like white back in here. You can use it wherever you have a good solid background color like I have over here on this studio picture. This would work as well, or over in here, again, another studio shot. You'll oftentimes come up with pictures like this when they're taken, again, in a studio and you have a basically solid background color. And the effect is like that. Just quickly and easily remove that background and replace it with a new background. Again, this uses the Element Plus plugin, and I have that sitting right over here, Elements Plus. It's a third-party plugin, aftermarket plugin. It costs at the moment $12. It's been $12 for as long as I can remember. And it's one version of Elements Plus to match each version of Photoshop Elements. So if you upgrade each year, then you need to buy the Elements Plus each year as well. But at $12, it's a very inexpensive and very useful plugin. It expands Photoshop Elements and puts back in or gives you access to a lot of the tools that are available over on the regular Adobe Photoshop that are hidden or not activated in Photoshop Elements, like the tool we'll be using today. Okay, let's just close this down, and I'll get rid of these things in here. And here is the original image. I got this over on Pixabay. Let's go over there, and I'll show you where this download is. And here it is. This is a free download. I'll put this link in the description so you can just click on the link and come right to this page. And then click on Download, and choose this one right here, 1920 by 1280. That's the one I normally use. This is the default Photoshop Elements size of 6 by 4 inches. And then choose Download. Download it to a location on your hard drive where you can find it again easily, and then open that up in Photoshop Elements. Okay, let's go back over there to Elements. And here we go. Right now I'm in Photoshop Elements 2024. Let me show you where we can get Elements Plus. I'll bring that website up. And it's right here at elementsplus.net. Again, I'll put this link in the description. Now, I'm not associated with this company in the least. I just happen to like this plugin. So I'm not making any money at all from any purchases of this. Again, I just happen to like this plugin. And notice they have versions here going back to Photoshop Elements version 6 all the way up here to the current 2024, which is what I'm using. You can get a demo version, which has a few things to try it out, make sure it works with your version. You can click on that, click on the demo, or you can just buy the full version. And right now the cost is $12. I just did that myself a couple of months ago, so still the same $12 price right there. Okay, let's get back over to Photoshop Elements. Now when the plugin is installed, it comes in several places. You'll see it right over here under the effects. That's where I like getting to it. Or you'll find it over here under the File menu and Automation Tools. That's over here, just a menu way of getting to this thing. Or up under Window and Actions, it actually shows up in Actions. But the easy way is just go to the Effects section, and it's in the Classic section of Effects. We've had Artistic for a couple of versions now. Color Match just showed up here in version 2024, but the one you want is the Classic section, and it will come in here at the top of the Classic section. Now the tool we'll be using is over here in this section. This is the Selections. Just click on that. Brings up this Options box, allowing you to choose which tool you want, and we want to have the Select Color Range tool right here. Double click on that to open that up, and here we go. This allows us to select a color range. There's a little eyedropper in here. I'm going to click out here in the white area. If you had a background that had a gradient to it, like some of the studio backgrounds, then click closer into your subject, kind of in the middle range here, because that will give us the best selection around the subject. We can then clean out anything outside afterwards. So I'll click in here somewhere, and notice that comes in here with the face in black and the background in white, because we're selecting the background. What we really want, though, is to have the figure selected or foreground selected. So click on Invert, and there we go. Now the fuzziness comes in and shows you how much of an area is selected, how many colors it's selecting. The higher the fuzziness, the more colors it selects. As we're getting a little bit of stuff in here in the face area right now. But we're also getting a better selection along the outside hair in here. So it's kind of a balance. You want to come in enough so that you get some good selection out there on the edge. And don't worry about the inside. We'll fix this on a second pass. So I'll be using 90 on this one, using sample colors. That's what we're doing. You can change your preview here to grayscale or black matte or white matte. You can kind of see where it's showing up in here. Quick mask. We'll put this at none. That's just a visual thing. When you're ready, click on OK. So then make that selection. There we go. And notice how it got the face selected, but it didn't select some of these areas. Let's fix that right now. Grab any selection tool. I'll just use the standard lasso tool. Set this on Add, because we want to add these things into our selection. I want to add this little bit around the finger right here. Just do that. I'll get these teeth in here, do that. And the nose and this cheek and all this stuff in here. We'll grab all that. And a little piece right out there on the hair. Okay, we brought all that stuff back in again. And one more thing while we're here, notice that the teeth are just a little bit yellowed. We'll fix those as well in a second fast step at the end of this video. Okay, that's all selected. Now, one thing about the Elements Plus program, it's hard to find good documentation. There's some documentation on the Elements Plus site. It's a nice place to go to learn how to use these different tools, but I'm trying to make it a bit easier for you here. I'm actually adding in training articles about how to use Elements Plus into my HTGPhoto Coach program. And that's a program that you can type in a question or a search term, and it comes back with a text description, how-tos and discussions on the different things that you're looking for. And again, I'm adding in stuff here for all of the different tools inside of Elements Plus. So if you're using Elements Plus and you don't have the HTGPhoto Coach yet, take a look at that. I'll put a link for that in the description. And over the next month or so, I'll be putting in discussions on all of the different tools here in Elements Plus. It's going to be a great place to go to learn how to use Elements Plus, along with learning everything about how to use Photoshop Elements itself. Okay, so we have this selection made in here. Let's go back over here to Layers. There's our layers. I'm going to make a duplicate of the background. Right-click and duplicate layer. Choose OK. Then hide that background. And then let's make a layer mask over here. Hit the layer mask button. Here's our layer mask. Notice how it's nice along the edges over here. We've lost some stuff in the face. We can fix that by cleaning up our layer mask. You should already be on the layer mask side. See that light blue outline over here? Hold the Alt key down and click on the layer mask. That opens up just the layer mask, and we can now see where the mask is bleeding through, and it's easy to fix. White shows, black hides. All we have to do is paint white into this area, and that cleans that up. So I'll change my color here to white, grab my paintbrush. There's a paintbrush right here. I'll use the right square bracket, bring my size up a little bit. You want to have this on a hard edge for this particular step. And then just come in and paint on the layer mask just like this, and paint out all of that gray stuff that you have in here that we don't want. That's just see-through areas. So let's just clean all that up. Stay away from the outside edge because we want to have all of that. We only want to have stuff that's inside here cleaned out. That's okay down here. So a little bit on this finger. So I'll carefully come in here and come in close to the edge of that finger. And we'll get that cleaned up. There we go. And then let's come down here and I'll get the rest of the hand cleaned up. Being very careful along that edge. I don't really want to get over that edge. I'll have to then redo it if I do that. And I'm leaving that bit right here because that is actually some of the background showing through, which we do want. Okay, there we go. That's been cleaned up. Now come down and click on the background layer, and that shows a regular layer again. Let's now change our background on this. We're on the background layer. That's good. I have a background picture that I chose up here. That's one called Beach, but any picture is fine. I'll just float this right here, go over to my Move tool, and I'll just drag that layer over here, drop it in. This one came in pretty small, but that's okay. I'll just grab the corner here and just resize that to fit. There we go. That's looking pretty nice. Now I have a little bit of a lightness around the edge here, this kind of a halo thing. We can minimize that a little bit. And I do that over here on the layer mask side. Click on the layer mask. If it doesn't go light blue, double click. And we'll start off with this tool right here. This is the burn tool. And this darkens things down. It makes them more contrasty. So I'm just going to brush over the layer mask with this. And sometimes this is all you need to do. Just come along here and you see it's doing a real nice job. It's making the layer mask harder along that edge. And that's getting rid of a lot of that little bit of an outline in there. I think that's fixing up the finger just fine. That solves that problem over there. There we go, a little bit down here and right down in here and along this edge of the hair over here. Now it's not perfect yet. So let's switch over here to the image side, double click, image side, light blue outline. And same thing, we're going to be coming in here and burning this area. Now I have my set at a soft brush, it's midtones, exposure is 50%. And then just come right along that edge. And we're just darkening down that edge. I'll bring my brush size down a bit. There we go. So I darken the edge right where that line is. And that then hides that line. You can even do it on the fur if you want to. Just come in and brush the edges just a little bit. And there we go. It's looking pretty good. And a little bit on the finger up in here, and I think that solves the hand perfectly. And right here. And in this area right there, I can probably use a good amount of this. There we go. And that fixes that area right under the neck there. Okay, a few more things. We have some of these hairs showing up over the top of her eyes, and up in here, they look a little weird. They're accurate, but they just look kind of weird. I'll try the healing brush tool, so go to the spot healing brush. Bring my brush size up here. And I'm just going to come in and just do this, just little strokes right along where those are, and that should do a pretty good job in there. Maybe a little tapping. Let's set this brush at a soft brush right there. And a little larger, and that should do the job. I'm just going to soften these down a bit so they're not quite as obnoxious. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's now take care of these teeth down here. And for the teeth, let's go to the magic wand, and I'll go over here to the quick selection tool. I'm just going to drag it around the teeth here. There we go. Just get the whole tooth area. Make sure you don't go into the lips. You want to get the teeth, but not the lips. If it just touches the lips, it's okay. Okay, that's good. We'll now use this selection to do a layer mask on this. So up here to layer, come down to new adjustment layer, and you want hue saturation. Use previous layer, check that, choose OK. And notice how I took my selection and made a layer mask for this hue saturation adjustment. So that's only going to be applied to just the teeth. Now we care about the yellow, so let's change our channel here to yellows. And we'll bring our saturation down, and that gets rid of that yellow. Bring our lightness up a little bit, adds a bit more white in there. And there we go. There's without, and there's with. It's that easy to whiten the teeth. Just use the hue saturation, yellow channel, and make a selection. Okay, it's Control 0 fit screen. And if you want to get more great training on how to use Photoshop Elements, then take a look at my complete training course for Photoshop Elements. I cover everything in the course. I do kind of a few things here on YouTube, and they're all project-based. But in my training courses, I cover everything. I go through the menus. I tell you how to use all the different menu features in here. I go through all the different tools, all the different panels, right-hand side panels. I go through all of these things. And I also cover the Elements Organizer as well. So that's really the best way to learn how to use Photoshop Elements. And I'll put a link for that in the description. And I have different versions of training for all the different versions of Photoshop Elements. So it doesn't matter which version you're on. I have a training course to cover that version. My newest course is 2024, and I'll put a link for that right there in the description as well. Okay, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you click on subscribe if you haven't already done so. I do new videos all the time, not just on Photoshop Elements, but other programs as well, such as Affinity Photo. I'll be doing some Lightroom videos. I'll be doing some Photoshop videos pretty soon. So I cover a lot of different photo-related content here on my HTGPhoto channel. And I'll see you next time.